Really excited, continuing off of some of the lessons I'd like to have for you. Thanks. Wow. We're so excited that everyone's here today. Building off of this morning and classroom flow, we're keeping with our schedule today. So we're here with building independence in the classroom, and so we're going to start with introductions. We're checking ourselves in just to make sure we know where we are. Building introductions in the, or not introductions, building independence in the classroom. It's been a long day. I'm Amanda McFee, I'm the Director of Arts for District 75, and I am here with my esteemed colleague.
I'm Michael Pantone, I'm a theater teacher in District 75.
And we are going to, we have our little check-in, and just for some of the norms of today, one of the things that I want to do is just be mindful of some of the language that we're using today. Some of our language has changed in the disability world. There is a beautiful new document that was put out by the Special Education Office and has all of this beautiful updated language on how we refer to some of the words that we use in the special education world. And so, you know, it may be talking about students with IEPs or students with disabilities, students who are non-speaking rather than nonverbal. So maybe some of the cues that we're talking about today, but we'll share that document out with you. It's fantastic, it's updated language. So that was some of the pieces. So the why of our workshop today, some of the really exciting work that we're talking about is, why is it important for our students to be independent? What do we think?
So they can be part of society.
So they can be part of society.
They can feel successful and have autonomy.
They can feel successful and have autonomy.
They can build their own identity and morals.
They can build their own identity and morals.
They're not going to be in school forever, so we need to make sure that they're ready for the day.
Exactly, they're not going to be in school forever, be part of society, be independent.
They can kind of take control of their education.
Take control of their education, all of that advocacy that we talk about. So yeah, all of those things are incredibly important. Where did you go back?
Yeah, we didn't start from the beginning.
I thought you put that on purpose.
We were on the next.
Oh my, I was like, oh, he wants to start later because we're running late. Sorry, I thought that was purposeful. So yeah, so one of the things that we wanted to talk about is really just, why are these things so important? And the biggest piece is really thinking about, why is it so important to really focus on the skills to supporting students' independence in the classroom, and thinking about those spaces where we're looking at, why is this a natural environment? Why is a theater classroom a natural environment for this to take place and for this to happen? Has anybody heard the term natural environment?
Yes.
What does it mean?
Like we,
Sorry, not to
Like-
throw the spot.
no, like we had it set up in the pre-K, like a kitchen, or we call it the nest room. So like we would set up like a kitchen or a washing machine, like toys, and then they would play, and we would just let them free in there and let them see what they did in there. And some of them actually like put clothes in the machine, put dishes in the sink, like see what a regular space would do in a regular space. Like,
Okay, getting warmer. Natural environment, what do we think? I saw a bunch of hands, yeah.
That the content itself lends itself to the goal or the skill that you're trying to achieve.
Exactly.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, that the environment itself lends itself to the goal that you're trying to achieve. So the beauty of theater and the beauty of a theater classroom is that all of these skills, communication, independent navigation, social skills, peer-to-peer interaction, is all embedded in theatrical practice. All of those fundamental theater essentials that we are tasked with in education is everything that we are asked to teach students each and every day. So how are we using this to our advantage to really take opportunity to build communication skills and build independent skills in the classroom? So, I think we're good. So one of the things that we really wanted to give you an opportunity to think about is in the District 75 world and in the world of special education services or specialized services, there are additional standards. I know, right? Everybody loves a standard. CLS, NGSS, why not add a few more letters? So we have, right? We love all the letters. So the ISS, just a few more, is the essential skills for increasing independence, right? So all of these skills, this is something that the travel training office uses. Now, if you use these skills, does that automatically mean that kids are gonna be travel trained? No. But what it means is these are skills that build independent practices. And so it's just a way to think about building independence in your classroom. So these are things that include awareness of environment, right? A lot of students who have autism, it's sometimes think about they have a struggle with awareness of their body in space, awareness of physical objects in space, and proximity to those objects. So thinking of awareness of their environment. Negotiation with dynamic and static environment. What is in the space? Problem-solving skills, appropriate social behavior, recognizing and avoiding danger and obstacles. What does that look like on stage? Dan's like, huh, we do this all the time, right? Initiating, recognizing a need and requesting assistance, decision-making, attention to task, right? All of these, and we will share out more of how this connects directly to theatrical practices. But these are ways to think about what I am doing and giving a rationale to what you're doing and how you're supporting students in your classroom. So one of the biggest things that we work on in class, and one of the biggest focuses is that why is stage direction so important, like as a fundamental practice to start out with? I feel like the answer's on the board, but therapeutic crisis interventions. It's really hard.
It gives you a sense of space. I mean, it's what I tell my kids every time we do a warm-up, that we do learning about space, learning about proximity, you know, you're able to understand where safety is, how not to fall down off downstage, things like that.
Yeah, proximity.
It's also kind of like a blueprint or a map for them. Once it's memorized, they'll know exactly where to go and can navigate on their own.
Navigation, blueprint.
It's an opportunity for us to tell them where we want them to go, and then without having to like physically move them, they hopefully will like know where to go.
Beautiful.
It's a great introduction to a lesson about perspectives,
Lesson about
both
perspectives,
physical and
physical and thought-provoking perspectives. Fantastic. Anybody else?
It's also reinforcing content-specific language, like this is the language we use in theater.
Content-specific language is incredibly useful in this construct. That navigation of space, right? All of those pieces, and it really is thinking about creating that baseline, that communal language, the building of that ensemble. So some of the things that we're going to really think about. So coming back to our structure, right? We talked about, we did our intro, we did our check-in, we did our norms. Done. We did our whys at the workshop. We got our check-in. Ding. And now we're setting the stage. So just to continue with the flow, we're gonna do some activities and then we're gonna bring it back to the why. One of the things that Michael and I have, and hopefully you see the benefit of this too, is looking at the theatrical practice and then looking at the why and the language of the why to bring it together so that you can speak to the magical work that you're doing in your classes.
All right, hi everyone. So I'm going to kind of rush us through a bunch of activities that I do in my classroom using stage direction work. Yeah, so how many of us are teaching to stage direction? Great. So
Teaching stage direction.
So all my students understand that this represents the audience, and that if we know where the audience is, we know where we are on stage, right? So that's the audience. That's why they're important. We know where they are. We know where we are on stage. If we are right smack in the middle of the stage, we're center. If we're close to the stage, we're downstage center. Furthest away from the audience, we're upstage center. When we're standing on stage, our right is stage right. If I'm close to the audience, downstage right. Standing on stage, my left is stage left. If I'm close to the audience, downstage left. All right, and I have all kinds of videos, all different things to be able to show why it was on a rake and how it came to be and how this language stuck. All right, and then this is how we set our stage. Upstage right, upstage left, center left. Some of my 12 one-to-ones will do this themselves. They'll set it up and make the visual support on the board. All right, so we're going to take you through a couple of activities. All right, level 1. Do you want to just talk quickly about levels?
Yeah, so a lot of times each school kind of has their own thoughts about how students are grouped, right? You can have level red, blue, green, level 1, 2, 3, Z, X, Y, whatever it is with your groups. But for the sake of our PD today, when we're talking about level 1, we're talking about our group that is our beginning level learners. We're talking about our early learning group, the students that we're working, that may be working on matching, they may be working on attending, they may be working on thinking about that direct identification. So I may be working on matching my square to this square, right? That I'm working on identifying vocabulary and direct picture matching and attending to my task, right? And attending to my task means that I'm physically engaging in accepting.
Great, so what I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to give you a stage direction. What I'm going to ask you to do is to match it here to the device, and then I'm going to ask you to get up and match it, okay?
Upstage left.
Wait, I need to take it with me?
I mean,
If it's my voice, I guess, right?
Great. Thank you, and if you did that completely, can you come center stage, please? I should have given this one and face the audience. And can you take a bow?
Yeah.
Okay, just try one more of these. Pretty, just press it, yeah.
Center left.
And go find it, please. Great. Were you successful?
Yes.
Can you go center, please? And take a bow. All right, so these are my 12 1-to-4 students. Okay, and a lot of times they're wheelchair users and will need support to be able to actually transfer onto the playing space and receive as much support as they need to be able to make the match. All right, so another activity that I have is, and this is always on the board. This is always on the board, as well as what's down here. I try to make everything match completely. I lost my little sticker of the audience that went here. But, yeah.
Do you have this on a slide that I can blow it up into a poster? Do you have, like...
I do. We're going to figure out how to share all this stuff.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, next activity is called drop the prop. All right. So it's as simple as I'll have a staff person sort of hold. Since you're downstage center, would you mind? So what I'm going to ask you to do is to hold up downstage left and downstage right. This again is for my 12 1-to-4s. You can do it right here.
Okay.
So, Marissa, could you? So I'm going to give Marissa, again, these are my 12 1-to-4s. For me, they're mostly wheelchair users, medically fragile. If you can come, we're going to start upstage center. And most are non-speakers. They choose to be non-speaking. All right, so we're going to take a prop. A prop is something that an actor holds in their hand when they're on stage. All right, what I'm going to ask you to do, Marissa, is take a cross downstage center. And you're going to just either point or look to where you would like to drop the prop. And then you're going to go to that place and drop the prop on the spot. Okay? Okay, were you successful?
Yes.
Can you take it out? All right, in most cases, I'll have a little stool or something here that would be accessible so the kid can just like drop it there. So the skill for that student is grasping, making a choice, executing it, and dropping. That's something I can use in the show. Okay. Those are my level 1, a couple of my level 1.
Oh, sorry. So one of the things we really wanted to talk about is what do you think that we saw? What essential skills are being used or being taught in that activity? And why is it important? But first of all, what essential skills did we see?
Matching.
Yeah. Choice.
There's also kind of like an abstract thinking element where you have to map, like you're looking at this symbol, but you have to say to yourself, this symbol corresponds to one of these spots.
Yeah.
There was multi-step directions at one point. Walk down and then look and choose and then do. That was a 3-step direction, which is important for like a 12.
Yeah.
I don't know the word for it, but just having to do it one at a time. All of us had to watch, so we learned while watching. So like a shared experience per se.
Teaching audience etiquette too.
Yeah.
Audience etiquette, right?
Thank you for saying that, because you know admin comes in and everybody should be moving all at the same time. I will at times if somebody walks in, here's a card for you, here's a card for you, whatever.
That's the word. Yeah, audience etiquette. Okay.
Yeah, but it's like active listening.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm the audience. What do I do as an audience member? That is huge.
Kind of going along with that, maybe not quite ensemble, but at least pair work. Having one person have to hold up something clearly for another's
Peer-to-peer interaction, huge. I'm so sorry to poll.
Oh, that's okay. There was self-assessment. There was, were you successful? It
Yeah.
wasn't good job. It was, what do you think?
And to go on top of that, it was very deliberate, intentional self-assessment, right? It was very poignant to the task at hand. Very poignant. Fantastic.
There was also, when she took a bow, we all clapped.
Support.
So
Audience
that's
participation.
audience participation, but it's also a cue that we can use in the show.
Absolutely.
If someone takes a bow, what do we do?
Absolutely.
We have the visual cueing.
social.
What do you do if they say, no, I was not successful? Like,
Um,
how do you keep it rolling?
Well, it's almost like in this activity for the level that I teach, it's almost errorless.
And it kind of also spins into like for the students with level 1s, it's that celebration and praise that's built in for students that you can have a conversation where they said they may not have been successful. You could generate a question of why, or what could you have done differently, or let's go back, let's try again. You know, when you can have that negotiation with a student, or you could reframe the question in a different way to like really elicit the assessment.
It's just like the level of support.
It really,
is
you have to think about the level of the
high.
students.
Yeah, that we don't get it wrong.
Got it.
Yeah, and it's just a success.
And so, does anybody want to share why was this activity important?
Probably kids have half a dozen IEP goals that.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, it does. And so that is the key to all of this. It's awareness of environment, it's attention to task, it's decision making, it's problem solving. Just in the essential skills element, of like independent standards, but it was also direct matching. It was also multi-step directions, not just one-step direction, but multi-step directions. So it's really thinking about when an administrator walks into your room and sees this task, that everyone in the room was engaged in an activity, that it's more than just direct matching that you're working on during a very routinized activity that's the foundation of theater.
All right, so we're going to move into level 2 and 3. So these are my 8 one-to-ones, my 12 one-to-ones activities. 6 one-to-ones can go into, some of mine are level 1, some are level 2s. So I'm just going to show you this. We're going to play hopefully a quick round of stage direction tic-tac-toe.
This is such a
All right, so right, there's 2 objectives. Right, because many times actors on stage are working with 2 objectives. You want something, right, but then you also want to stop something. Right? So we're going to do just that. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to split into 2 teams, and we're trying to, at the same time, get 3 X's or O's in a row while keeping the other team from doing so. How do we do that? We can go from upstage to downstage, or downstage to up. We can go, or we could go from stage right to stage left, or stage left to stage right. We could go on a diagonal, up stage right to down stage left, down stage right to up stage left. Okay, so these are the things you're looking for. Again, I would keep this on the board for support for the group. All right, so I want to just do this sort of quickly. So we can get through it. There's 3 rounds to it. And so it really builds or show you the way that this can be structured into different level activities. All right, so would you be our captain for Team O,
Okay.
please? And would you be our captain for Team X? So if you want to take those and pass them out to some folks on your team. All right?
Okay.
Okay, and the way that this is going to work, right, we're going to start with the O's. The O's are going to come up one at a time, and they're going to place an O somewhere down on our stage direction spots. However, that does not mean you get to keep it. The only way you get to keep it is by naming it. So if I come here, I can put my O down, but I don't get to keep it unless I'm able to correctly identify where I am. How can I do that? I can look down, I can read it. I can say it, I can use the device.
Upstage center.
Okay, so that's the way you get to keep the spot. Any questions? Okay, Timo, let's get up there. Okay, we're just going to go 1 O, and then we're going to do 1 X. All right, just like we're. Okay, and where are you?
Upstage right.
Great, so O for the spot. And let's get a team member from Team X. Right, remember we're trying to get 3 in a row.
Center stage.
Center stage.
Okay. And Team O.
Downstage left.
fierce competition.
Okay. Team X.
I'll do it.
Go. Sure.
If since someone was bring up stage.
Upstage center.
Yeah. For the X. O's.
Just gonna put it in.
Downstage center.
For the block. Team
Let's
X.
take care of business.
Downstage right.
For the block.
That's how that's done.
Because there's a huge slip up. What do we do here?
Upstage left.
For the block.
Okay, center stage left.
You're all too good. This doesn't happen my All right,
Too
great.
good,
Can I ask the teams to pick those back up, please? And we're going to go for round 2. All right, I'm going to show you round 2. Thank you so much.
Oh, no.
Get ready.
No, hello.
Leveling up. Game over.
Leveling up.
However, will I know what they are?
Miss Tech Theater.
What
You have to
is
know.
what is a stage? Is that a thing?
Okay, round two.
What's a direction?
Actually, go first since Owen went first last time.
All right, so round two, we're going to let the X's start. We're going to play the same exact way, except we just lost one support. We just lost a support, okay? So now we got to really think about what is everything we've learned. What does it mean if you're close to the audience? When you're standing on stage, if it's your right, you're where? If it's your left, you're where? If you're furthest away, where are you? All right, Team X, let's get going.
Let's go. You guys got this. Come on. Center stage.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Center left.
Upstage left.
X, X, X.
Downstage right.
With the throwdown.
I never went Violet.
Oh, go then, go.
Sorry. I got you. Ready? Upstage.
Oh! What you gonna do?
That's why I was like going there.
Downstage.
Who wants it? Who wants the victory?
Do it.
Do it.
Upstage. X.
Here we go. That's 12. All right. Round three. Can we pick these back up, please, again?
Great job,
Thank you.
everybody.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go back. Round three. We're going to go back. This is going to get even a little more tricky.
Oh, no.
All right, so round three. Team O is going to come up and place an O anywhere they want on the grid. Before they can say where they are, Team X may move the audience. Okay? Okay, does that make sense? Yeah?
Theater in the round.
Team up.
Can I move the audience first?
No, you're gonna move the, no, you're gonna place it, the other team is gonna move the audience.
Okay, perfect.
No, I'm sorry, I'm not clear. You're just gonna place down an O,
Okay.
but before you get to answer where you are, Team X can move the audience.
Oh, come on.
All right, Team X, you may move the audience if you'd like.
Can I have a question first?
Yes.
I don't know a way to say this without just doing it. Are we allowed to do like?
For our purposes, no, we keep it outside the grid. Yeah.
That would have been great.
No,
It was worth a shot.
If that would make sense for a class that you're teaching, absolutely. I mean, this is all.
That's when you start teaching.
My kids love.
Yeah. I don't even talk about being in the round.
They love the loophole.
Do you guys want to move the audience?
Maybe, I feel like right now it's good to keep it there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so they're going to keep the audience. Where are you?
Center stage.
All right. So, Team X, you guys are going to come up and place an X.
Okay. I'm good at all that. Right, team, what do you think?
Go wherever you want.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, woo!
Okay. Now, Team O, you may move the audience.
Do it.
And, oh wait, and then your position changes.
Correct. Right, so just to clarify, we're moving around the perimeter of our planes.
Okay.
All right?
Oh, stage left.
Think about it. Yes.
Yeah.
you are.
That's different.
All right, that's the way this would play. So let's just see if we can move
I
that.
have awful spatial.
Pose.
I'm good at my ex.
Wait, hold on.
Oh.
Team X, you want to move the audience?
I feel like we should.
We should move it.
Great job, team. Woo! X.
Maybe over here.
You gotta have pride in your team, you know? Team spirit. Woo! Great job.
I'm sorry, left, center, stage.
Yes, yes. Right, so you can see the thought process of what you need to be thinking. All the things we're always teaching to, right? You're closest to the audience, you're downstage. You're right to stage right, you're left to stage left.
Patience.
Great. Is that enough of this?
I have a question. When you are doing level 3 with your kids, do they know that there are just like kind of 4 places it goes, or do you have those marked as like potential audience spots?
When I set it up, I will show the 4 places it can move to. All right, so this is like really high order thinking for District 75.
Maybe like,
higher order thinking
maybe
would be
8th grade
nice.
first.
Yeah.
Like 8th grade's
Yeah,
not
right.
great.
Yeah, some of my 12 one-to-ones can get to this level. When I see the frustration level get, like, oh, I'll just cut away. You know? But I'm always trying to push that rigor, you know. Yeah.
Sometimes too, you can do level 3 without polystops. Too, a way to like add in, if you needed to, as like a precursor to just see, can they go to a space without a marker as a transition to the stage.
What about just use, I use cones sometimes too, because that helps a little bit, because like, sometimes the spot they just run over. It's just the cones, the.
Yeah. Stage direction, Simon says, we walk to the spot.
So that's
Done
what I
that
like for. Wait, what was that?
I said I play stage direction, Simon says,
Woo!
sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And then they walk to the spot, but I really love the symbols and the colors coding.
And so it's really thinking about where the student is and so what activity you're doing. So this is something where the students are, that they have an understanding of, like a basic understanding of stage direction. So you're really looking at like how can it be manipulated, right? So they move past like that direct identification of each symbol, right? And so they're working past that. So what essential skills are we seeing? Like what were we seeing in this activity?
Spatial orientation.
Spatial orientation,
Memory recall.
memory recall,
Teamwork.
teamwork, yeah,
Critical thinking.
critical thinking,
Identifying left and right.
identifying left and right,
Self-regulating frustration and change.
exactly, self-regulation, perseverance.
I'm glad you said teamwork, because that's, I really lay into that when I set up the lesson, that you guys are a team, right? The person out here doesn't need to have that answer. You can look to your team to help you with the answer.
Which is huge, that's that crux of ensemble building. That we're working together, we're supporting each other with cues.
Yeah, these folks in particular were really verbally supportive.
Let's be honest, I think it was mostly me. But
Exactly, anyone else? And what was so important about this? Why are these skills important? Yeah, absolutely.
In a way, this is also like introductory to multiplication in mathematics, because you have a 3x3 square that always stays 3x3.
Yeah.
So even if the directions change, you know you still have the same dimensions, and that will help them start to build those skills as well. Or not build those skills, but help continue to build those skills.
it provides stakes, which I find is really helpful with kids. Like if they're vying for something, they want to do it even more. So it gives it stakes.
So this was something where the teacher did not have to be up in front of the room. So it's something that people like to see in teaching, like they're gaining independence. And they are also generalizing. So yeah, so it's not always left is not always left. It's not always the same spot.
Generalizing skills, seeing student-led facilitation, right? Partnership. Is anybody familiar with Hart's Ladder? Like adult-student partnerships? There's a big piece in the DOE right now, well, just in general. It's looking at adult and student relationships and like the building of student leaders from tokenization, where it's like adult-led and like where it is kind of like, oh yeah, we take in student opinions, but it's really the adult leading, then like a true partnership between student and adults.
And it's
Where
called what now?
Hart's Ladder, Harts, ladder, like ladder. And it's about adult and student partnerships and like really looking at student voice and the elevation of student voice. And it reminds me of like how that would play into like thinking about theatrical practices and like what that really means in ensemble building. But it's really like looking at student agency and like how that comes into play. But this is where we're seeing a lot more skills being played, right? Because we're working with students who are ready to engage in more skill building, right? So they're looking at awareness of space in their environment. There is much more attention to task. They're making decisions independently. They're initiating between peers. You know, they're making choices. They're negotiating dynamic spaces and static spaces in the classroom. They're negotiating that environment, right? They're starting to look at different obstacles. They're problem solving. You know, they have spatial awareness and they're looking at blockades and they're looking at how can I make a choice that is going to impede.
I have a question.
Mhm.
So, like, some of my classes, my 12th ones, I have students in there who are ready for this, and then I have students who are not. So how do you differentiate to meet the needs of all when you're by yourself, like, essentially?
Could you put them in pairs?
I could. Okay.
Yeah, you could put them in pairs.
Yeah.
You could also
You
add
two
in
are next,
adaptations.
Okay.
Again, for
So
those-
have a stronger one help navigate the other one. Okay.
Yeah, you could do peer partnerships, which is one of the things that Michael was talking about. You could also add in a cue or a prompt for a student. You know, maybe the student is, you know, you're giving them a choice where you're like, okay, so are you navigating towards like upstage right or upstage left? Maybe maybe you're having a student from the team give the student a choice. And they have 2 cue cards and then the student's working on matching. Like that there's 2 people on this team and they're giving an opportunity saying like, oh, like where do you think the best way is to go? And you're giving a choice to the student. You know, so there's many ways because students are at all varying levels, especially in 12s and in 8s. And so it's looking at ways to have partner, but always giving students choice and agency.
Thank you.
Michael, would you tell us more about this audio device you have?
I wanted to ask.
Oh, sure. Because I've seen it on iPads, but I've never seen it like this where you can.
This is a
like,
Go Talk
audio.
9.
This is this is like not it anymore. They want
iPads.
This is before.
Yeah,
this is
school
what it's like the PACs, then the iPad. So if your kid's on the iPad,
PACS is something totally different.
not PACs. I'm just saying like when they're little, they learn with the book to request. Then
Okay, yes.
then that's what they do, and then the iPad. So if they have the iPad, they've mastered that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
So
I
there's
guess
level
Here it is.
systems.
the sounding board thing that you gave us a few years ago,
Yeah,
I have my stage directions
Yeah.
and sounding board.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
when
yeah,
it's
I
on-
think,
It's on the iPads.
at my school, this is appropriate.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
They
like,
all have iPad, like those that, you know, work with speech and have like individualized iPads, will utilize them in the class.
I like that.
This
because-
this is mine. The
Right,
stage
it's
in
just,
the
yeah,
theater
it's just
classroom.
theater, because
Yeah.
sometimes like, I can speak, I don't know, speak for myself, but like, trying to find out of their iPad, just the
Oh,
5
yeah.
words that I want,
Yes.
is really
You
annoying.
want speech people to push into your classroom.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I've been successful, you want to make them want to be in your classroom.
Okay.
That if I've done anything that I think has been successful, I have more speech in my classroom than I do paraprofessionals.
Yeah. And
That's
Because what we do is it's addressing all of their goals.
Yeah.
And they're like, and it's so much more fun in here
Yeah.
than pulling a kid out and sitting with them one-to-one or in a small group.
because it's all speech. Like so many speech people.
OT as well.
OT and speech.
But they're, for me, less likely to.
And become friends with them, get them to push in, and I have to be honest, so many of those devices are 100% in a closet
Yeah.
in your school.
Somewhere.
Somewhere.
Those green ones?
100%. If you're in a District 75
It's called the
building,
Go Talk.
it's called a Go Talk. And I have to be honest, the Go Talks are not in Chongqing anymore, but you can get a Crop Stalker. And so another shameless plug. If you go to district75pe.org, We're doing a whole PD on access and communication, and we're going to talk about every single device that's out there and how to use it as a theater teacher, how to program it for shows, how to do engagement with communication. Even if you are not in District 75 and you are interested in learning how to do this because you have students who use communication systems and use devices, you're more than welcome to come. Just sign up, we'll override your permission, we'll send it out even if you're a non-District 75 teacher, you're more than welcome to come. But I promise you that there is a closet somewhere in your building that has a ton of those devices in there. Just find a speech teacher at your school and ask them, especially if you're maybe in a community school, not so much, but in a District 75 school, for sure, they're somewhere in the building. You need a new battery. And we'll show you how to use them because you can use them in partnership. But we'll talk about some of those supports when we talk about supports for communication in a minute.
Can I ask one quick question?
Sure.
If you have a kid, a wheelchair kid who doesn't have agency over their own movement, how are you having them dictate to where they want to be moved to choose the spot?
I'll pick this up.
And you bring it to them?
I'll put it right here, and
then they'll look?
I'll have this, and I'll just, again, errorless, right? I don't want a kid to feel like I can't do it, right? And it's also the assumption you're making this connection. This is the way you're matching it. Yep.
And so a lot of times too, when you're working with a person who is using a wheelchair, there is some way that child is communicating and making choice, whether it's eye gaze or whether they have some sort of movement. And so when Michael's saying he may bring a choice of two, like that you can talk to their classroom teacher or speech therapist saying, do they have to make a choice of one? Do they choose from an array of two or from two choices? Do they use eye gaze or do they have some sort of movement of their elbow or finger? And so you can try to start using that and just bringing it closer to them. And then once they have the selection, ask the student, can we move together to this space? Always making sure that you're asking for permission, to move the child, to move with them to the space in the room. Amazing. Next activity.
Okay, we're gonna go through this
so good
one
on time.
really, really quickly. This is another one for my level 2s and 3s. Called Trapdoor. So basically, can I get a, Lynn, will you be our director? All right. So Lynn, what I'm going to ask you to do is when it's time, you're just going to choose one of the 9 spots. Yeah. Can I get 3 volunteers to come up center stage?
I'll do it.
Thank you. Great, and if 3 of you could just sort of split center and face downstage. Okay, so the way this is played is our director here, Lynn, is going to give you a direction where you're going to go, okay? And then Elise, which I don't have, will call out one of these structures, all right? Either a drama scene, a love scene, a comedy scene, or trapdoor, or paparazzi, okay? She has images that I forgot to put in my bag that she could hold up as well as say it. All right, so what's going to happen is you're going to hear Lynn's going to tell you where to go. All right, so Lynn, give us a...
Upstage center.
We're going to move as quickly as we can to upstage center. Now Elise is going to call out one of these.
Drama scene.
Drama scene, and without thinking, the 3 of you are going to create a tableau and create a drama scene. All right, if Elise calls out paparazzi, then what you guys are going to do is we're going to be the paparazzi. Oh. All right? We're all just going to take that, and you guys are just going to pose for it, okay? Great, so let's just take 2 rounds, and thank you very much for volunteering. Here we go. Director, can you give us some place?
Right.
What?
Center right.
Center right.
Comedy scene.
Okay, director?
Upstage left.
Love scene.
Yeah.
Great, let's just do one more.
Downstage center.
Paparazzi.
Okay, great. Give him a hand. All right, that's just another stage direction activity.
What do we see?
Well, before we get started, what was the trap door? Was it?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't say. Trapdoor is that together as a group you cover yourselves. So together you make yourselves like under a trapdoor.
What is the purpose of that?
Purpose of,
Trapdoor.
it's just another piece of direction, you know, to follow.
I mean, I can totally see my
Just for fun.
Ensemble
I can
activity.
see
Right.
my
How together can you guys be inside a trapdoor?
It's like, we've
You
done
never
the
know what
serious
you're gonna
ones.
need
Now let's
one.
do a silly one.
Really?
I wish I could have a trapdoor.
Right? And just like under.
Just do it. Just
fell into the trapdoor in Australia.
Just call it out for yourself.
We're gonna see, we're gonna be like, trapdoor!
Trapdoor.
New teacher safe word.
A teacher safe word. Exactly, trapdoor. That's hilarious. Okay, what skills did we see? Teamwork.
following directions.
Following directions. Acting.
Thinking quickly.
Thinking quickly, right?
Navigation.
Navigation, huge amounts of peer-to-peer communication.
Nonverbal communication amongst their group.
Yeah, nonverbal communication between their group.
Different layers of support for like different strengths, right? So not saying that these three had like completely different layers, but there was one moment where you pointed, and I could see that being in a classroom, like if a student were to point and there were two students with them that weren't as strong, that would have been very helpful.
Yeah.
Or the kid who tells everybody else what to do is less helpful.
Yes.
Well, they need to be the director.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where you can be strategic, right?
Yeah. So, any others? Why do we think an activity like this is important?
Well, it's definitely scaffolded everything you talked about stage directions, and now you're saying, well, this is how you navigate the stage group, like when you're acting. Like this is, it brought it to the next level, like ready for performance.
Like to build on that, our students' lives, because of their disability, often they need certain guardrails or certain adjustments,
Mhm.
but within that, there are still choices that you can make creatively.
It also gives a chance for students to be directors. And I do a whole thing on acting, directing, and they love being directors because they're always being told what to do. It gives them a chance to tell them.
Exactly.
It's also bringing in their voice, because it wasn't, you're gonna do, you're gonna do, you're gonna do, it was who wants to do. And then it was still everybody involved,
Right.
because there was audience participation with the paparazzi. So everybody had their ability to say, this is what my level of participation will be in this one activity.
It's also getting them in the mindset of moving with blocking on stage. They move to a spot and make a movement. That's like a step way into blocking.
And acting styles.
Yeah.
You have different styles of acting that you're using.
Yeah, and kind of along those same lines, there are different levels of, like, there was a picture up there of like a drama scene, so they could recreate what they saw in the picture, or they could think a little more abstract, like, what kind of face would I be making in a dramatic piece of that?
Right, that improvisation, creative thinking, critical thinking.
There was also a sense of, I'm blanking on the word, like having to do something in a structured amount of time. Like it was,
Urgency.
that is exactly the word I'm looking for.
Right? Like dramatization, 5 seconds or less. Which is like a really exciting thing to do. Another one of those like high stakes moments.
But you don't give them too much time to live in that stressful area.
Right.
You know, we're moving on. We're going.
Oh, and if within those stakes, if you're having a hard time, like I was relying a lot on my peers in there because I'm spatially unaware. So like I'm learning from my peers as well.
And because you're in a group, it's almost like a low stakes moment.
Well, yeah, like, a lot of the kids, like, especially like 6th, 7th, 8th, like 12s, like they're aware, so like they want to perform, but then they're scared. So a lot of times I'll do it with them, and then this is cute because now they could like group them with their friends. But like most of the time, like I'm doing it with them too, because they're scared. They don't want to look silly in front of their peers, you know.
It's like the same as like across the room. It's like that low stake opportunity, so you can kind of be like slide and like doing it with somebody else, so you're not on the spot.
There was also no indication of right or wrong. It was just your interpretation as well. And even if they were to go to how would you handle the direction was upstage left, 2 of them went there, 1 went downstage right?
I would probably let it go. I might cue the 2 teammates that were downstage right where they're supposed to be, and to be like, oh, let's see if we can get your team together, and see if they took that cue. If not, I mean, I'm never about no. Right. Because if this builds into rehearsal, and every single time that kid goes center when he's supposed to be downstage right, then center it is. You know?
Center it is, my friend. Center it is.
If they want to participate, that's like a lot of what like they're like, no, they're not. I'm like they're trying. You have to just
We're the creative professionals, right? If that kid wants to go center, that's my job now to figure it out and make it make sense, right? And that's what we're all trying to do.
I'm thinking about the making sure they feel successful, but also maintaining expectations. And I'm thinking about the first round where, you know, it was just matching the shapes, and you said, did you do it successfully? And I'm wondering, like, in that moment, if they go to the wrong place and you say, did you find it, were you successful? And they say yes, how to give them the information without shutting them down.
Yeah. Well, like we said earlier, right, I wouldn't, if the next step for that kid was to really, like now your matching skills are getting stronger, so you went here when the match was here. So I might pick it back up, work with the kid. Can we flip away? And then I've actually even like took my shoulder and was like, let's come over here with like a kid, you know, and then held it here and picked that up, and that's maybe held both.
So you'd show them the.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's about pushing the rigor for each student.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So if this kid's never going to get downstage right, it's okay. It's okay. He just might not ever get that. He might fear a little. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yes.
I have certain like go-to phrases that I use a lot with my kids. Also like we'll try that again next time, or like that's something we're working on. Like certain things to where it's, you know, you're not telling them like yes you did this correctly, but at the same time you're not sort of framing that as a negative thing. It's just like this is something that we're working on. That's okay. We're gonna move on now. You know.
Yeah. I think teaching into it.
And another great way is just to actually make a mistake in front of them.
Yeah.
We're all humans.
In love.
And one of the biggest pieces too is that, you know, you're teaching these visuals as vocabulary, you know, when you're introducing it. So it's not that you're just putting these on the floor and hoping for the best, especially with some of our earliest learners that, you know, you may be working with, you know, this is center, and this is the symbol that we're doing, and there's some work with this. And this may be the only thing we're working, and this is what we do in this space for some of our earliest learners. And what we're doing is we're picking up a card and we're coming here. And then we're going back. And this is the activity that we're working on for a couple of days. And then we've mastered this, and now we're working center down stage. You know, so there is work that is done before the entirety of the stage comes out. And so you're building on these skills. And so it's really looking at that scaffolding and what the student needs. And if you do find that that student is coming to this place, maybe it's another prompt. And it's like, okay, maybe we need to bring matching back a little bit. You know, so it's really looking at where they are and where we need to add a prompt or a cue for a student. All right. So yes, we have our same pieces in this space where it's, you know, our awareness of our environment, like really taking into these essential skills, attention to task, decision making, initiating, and negotiating dynamic and static environments. And the plethora of other skills that you mentioned, which is amazing. And so one of the things that Michael and I always talk about in planning these sessions is like really giving the language so that when we are working on theater games and we are working on looking at stage direction, like when somebody walks into our room, that it's not like, oh, we're just playing games. Like, what is the purpose of why we're doing these? And, you know, while it is called theater games, sometimes people fear the word game. Mm-hmm. That it is these very specific skills that are being taught through the choice of this game. And so just giving you the language and the tie so that you know what you're being able to refer to when you're talking about what you're doing in your class. We hope that that's successful. Oh, we have another one.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, more fun.
So this one I want to go through quickly. This, for me, is the most valuable. If you go.
Oh, sorry.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you do a performance, like, because I have to do one, can I keep these, like, do you think it's appropriate to just keep these on the stage? Because I feel like
the goal is to remove them, but
I mean,
absolutely. I mean, I'll switch them out for tape.
But if you're doing one in December and the students haven't mastered it,
I'm doing it in March, and I feel like this is the first year they're really exposed to this language, and I feel like, I don't know, do you think it would look funny if I just kept it on stage?
Yeah, do whatever you're gonna do, we're gonna do.
Okay.
Even on Broadway, at chorus line, they have a line.
Okay, no, I'm just like.
You may be surprised, and then like, all of a sudden the students grasp it and they master it. And if some students need it and other students don't, like you may have it on for a scene. Listen, at the Festival of the Arts, there are teachers that come in and they have poly spots all over the stage.
Okay.
There are other schools that don't need it at all. Marissa helped me backstage. There was teachers that had 30 poly spots on that stage. I was like, how do you have, like, I was like, they were like, it was, we were like, you do you, go for it. You know what I mean? So you have to do, that's what we're here for. Like, you know, as an educator, you're the director of the show, and so you're.
I think this would be like extremely helpful because I feel like they all kind of like to stand on one side. They all kind of like to stand on one side of the stage, and I think like it would be helpful to like just have it out constantly because I think it would really help.
This
them.
is much better than having an adult behind them.
Yeah.
I agree. That's what I'm trying to say. Like I'd rather not have that.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. 100%.
All right, let me.
This is independence.
Time is getting a little.
Oh yeah, we got it.
So this I think is super valuable. I do it with every population that I work with. So basically, I have this, and I ask the students to draw an E anywhere around the grid, and that's going to be their entrance. And then I ask them to choose a random X and put that somewhere, and then I ask them to just draw between that. And then we execute that staging. So might I use you as an example?
Sure, you can.
Okay, so this is going to be a 12-1-4 student who is a wheelchair user, does not have much use of her limbs, and really responds through eye gazing. All right. So I'm going to work and I'm going to say, okay, where would you like your knee to go? Okay, and we can point. Yep, she just pointed. All right, and what about an X? Okay. And guys, I used to freak out about it, and I'm not sure I got exactly where you were looking, but I'm giving her agency to make this decision. Okay, now we're going to start here. So I have her E and an X. We're going to start here. Where would you like to go next? Okay, she's going to cross upstage center. Now where? Okay, to center. And we're going to exit. All right, can we execute this staging? All right, so we're saying that this is a wheelchair user, so I would ask, okay, I'm going to move you. We're going to start downstage. Right, it's really important to make sure that our stage map is always facing the audience. Okay, so here we go. You started here. Where's your next move? Let's go there. And your next move? Yeah. And your exit. Fantastic. All right. So, what I'm going to ask, can I get 2 volunteers to quickly do just this? Like literally, let's just take, if you can do it as quickly as possible. So, all right, let's just do an entrance and an exit. and draw yourself a map of where you're going. It can be as extensive as you like, or as simple as you like.
Done.
Great. Can you guys go to your entrance, please? All right, now what we're going to try to do, right, and of course this would be scaffolding, but just for the point of time. All right, can you guys execute your staging? Yeah. All right, good. Now, can you go back again to your entry place? All right, now I'm going to put on a piece of music. And we talk a lot about how can the music now inform these moves? How can they inform these moves? Okay, great. Let's go back. Let's try it one more time. But what I'm going to ask you to do is keep your markers, and will you draw a circle somewhere within your movement pattern?
On one of the
On one of the places that you travel through. Okay? Now, in that place, when you get to the place where there's the circle, right? We can have student voice. What would you like to do when you have that stop featured moment? What would you like to do? For now, let's just have us make a circle. Okay? Now, I'm going to put on a different piece of music. Again, we're going to see how the music then will inform this. Just give me one second. Sorry.
We're getting ready for a dance party.
Come on. I do this with every population. And when I'm working on something specifically, I try everything I can to honor their staging. In every way that I can. Everything came from this grade on the floor. Thank you.
So, what are some of the essential skills that we saw? Choice making.
Following directions.
Following directions.
It's actually map making.
Map making. Cartography.
So dual attention, which is a Sandy skill, which I'm terrible at. Like
Dual
looking at
attention.
the map and moving and being aware where she is.
Beautiful.
Navigating the space with another person.
Navigating the space with another person. Huge.
Tempo.
Tempo. Ooh. Peter.
Motor skills.
Motor skills. Beautiful.
Gross motor skills.
Gross motor skills.
Creativity, they were imagining when they had to do different dance steps to response to the music.
Creativity. Memory. Accountability.
I have a question.
Sure.
Michael, you said how would that inform how you move. And I'm just wondering, how would you phrase it like that for a class, or how might you phrase it for a class where that wasn't vocabulary that they were?
How does it make you feel? Move the way how it makes you feel. How is that different from the last song you heard?
Yeah.
Why? One felt what?
Does it, you could say something like, does it feel fast or slow? Talking about tempo, like we can do a vocabulary word.
Super quick, like
Yeah.
if you look at elements of dance, if you look at the dance standards, and then there's so many great posters that people have made about dance dynamics, and people have already made these where you can show like the music makes me feel slow, syrupy, whatever, like I want to move angularly.
Like I'm doing a Nutcracker and I have 12 wheelchair users doing the Waltz of the Flowers. And every move that is like what everyone is doing, each one chose something for that circle moment. So that's all incorporated into the choreography for that number. So there's agency, for me, for that population particularly, is to feel represented. It's like we're not pushing you around.
But also, wouldn't you have already introduced the use of music?
Oh, of course.
Prior to this activity.
Yeah.
So that their knowledge would have already been there, talking about how the music makes you feel or how they would move differently. Right.
You could also do this with like a character walk activity instead of music. Walk as this character or that character.
Yeah. There's so much here, I think, of giving students agency.
And Arlene and I were even talking about, with a lot of students that are early learners, like really thinking about choice and eye gaze. Maybe it's building your stage and it's giving students a choice of two to start. Where do you want to start? Is it downstage left? Is it downstage center? And it's between two choices at first. And then you're building that stage from an array of two because their choice making range is between 2 or 3 to start instead of a choice of 9. So it's really thinking about where the students are and what that looks like.
Any suggestions on how to teach left and right? I mean, I saw you going like this.
Right. I sometimes don't have kids that can do that. Like,
I do it myself.
Hey, not for nothing. I mean, I did this my whole life, and I noticed that I put these down wrong periodically. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a really hard concept.
And so sometimes it's even like you're working with the students, and it's not about left and right; it's about the color matching. And so it's thinking about that more. It's more of the direct matching that you're working on than the skill of left and right, and the skill of left and right will come later. I think we might be out of time, but quickly. So the one thing that we added that's really important is the recognizing and overcoming of obstacles, which is huge. And that is big when it comes to recognizing your body in space and the recognizing the need and requesting for assistance if needed when you're working with more than one person on a stage. Like we saw them negotiating with each other, we saw them negotiating dynamically and avoiding like a giant collision, right? That there was this negotiating of space and the avoidance of an obstacle and this beautiful dance that started happening, right? And so that is, there was an awareness of space that was happening there. And so how did we build in that skill, right? And so these are all areas of agency. So one of the things that we did, we will send you these slides. And I know that we are at time, and I apologize for that because we wanted to make sure that these are all of how to tie this in with the standards, CDOS, and then all of this beautiful.
We talked about some of this stuff this morning.
This is a lot of it. This is the first then board, 224. I'm so sorry for the first then opportunities. But what I would love to happen is if you would like the slide decks, would you please come up and put your name and your email and your school here. And I will make sure that you get the slide deck, but I just won't have access to your emails otherwise if you're outside of the district. So please. Oh no, but just to know that you were here. So go ahead and just put your name and your email, and we will make sure that you have the slides. It was wonderful to meet everybody today. Thank you so much for your participation. It was a really valuable conversation.